Look at this guy. He was going to make us so happy in 2017. We had a banner outside of the arena. He was going to play in Miami. We all were ready for him, and instead he betrayed us. And we're happy for him, though.
No, not so much. Like, respectfully, piece of shit move, Gordon.
Whoa, wow. That's not how you start.
Welcome. Thank you for everything you've done. But come on, what were you doing down here in Miami?
That's not
what you do, Billy. You lie and you say you're happy for him.
Guys. What an amateur. That is not how you start a piece of shit move, Billy.
I didn't say he was a piece of shit. I just said it was a piece of shit move. Yeah.
After 14 seasons with the best haircut in the NBA, playing for the Jazz, the Celtics, the Hornets, the Thunder, not the Heat, he is here for an exclusive exit interview because he's retired. His production company, Whiskey Creek, has a movie coming out on September 27th. It's called Notice to Quit. And Gordon Hayward is with us. And while we kid, Gordon, we did want you down here in Miami. We were very excited about that. So thank you for joining us. How close were you to coming here? Can you take us through sort of what the process was that broke our hearts down here?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. That was a super tough decision. I basically visited 3 teams. I started with Miami, then did Boston, then finished, with Utah, meeting with all those teams. And I remember vividly telling my agent after each meeting, so I started with Miami and I'm like, I want to go to Miami. We don't even need to do the other meetings. Miami's the place I want to be, and he kind of was like, well, we got to hear everyone out. The Heat have always been a first-class organization. So I was really, really close to signing there. I feel like Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in the league, and obviously Pat Riley is legendary in his own right. And I was very close. Also my brother-in-law lives in Miami. My wife would have loved living there and then the beach and everything, but ultimately decided to go to Boston.
Well, take us through how your mind changed after each meeting. What was happening? Because the Heat brought you Riley, Spo, Zoe, Juwan Howard, Udonis. They put on a full court press.
They did, yeah. You got all the inside information, huh?
I mean, they really wanted you here.
That's how they do it.
They usually, in fact, you kind of represent when they started swinging and missing on the big names they were going after, because they know how to do that. They're very good at luring people. So what changed over the process?
They got LeBron.
Yeah. Well, it was reuniting with Brad. I mean, Brad was the one that sold it. It's hard to compete with, somebody that I played under at Butler and he had a huge impact on my life, not just as a player, but also a person. So, that was kind of the key thing, was being able to go play for him again.
Stugotz, do you remember that time, the excitement in Miami? It was July 4th weekend. It was Gordon Hayward mania down here.
Yep.
People were going insane, and then there was no way to lose him. The Godfather made a speech. Did Riley throw his rings on the table? Did he do the move?
Classic move.
Did he do the move to you that he did in 2010 to get LeBron?
Yeah, he did all the moves. It was nothing. The Heat did it all right. Like I said, I was ready to join after that meeting. It would have been 3 great choices, honestly, with either of those teams.
The person to blame is the agent here, Dan, because he was ready to sign with Miami. The agent insisted that he go to Boston. I mean, if you're looking for someone to blame that.
Yeah, blame Mark. Mark Bartlett.
Yeah, that's why they exist, to absorb the blame on behalf of their prodigious talents. You were also a tennis prodigy. So how close? Explain to me how your life would have been different, or how good you were at tennis if you had chosen that as the obsession instead of basketball.
Yeah, I think the tennis thing might have been a little overstated, but I was definitely better at tennis in high school than I was basketball. It's not saying too much. I'm from Indianapolis, so it's that Central Indy tennis isn't necessarily the best in the country, but yeah, I mean, my height would have definitely helped me out. Playing like a guy like John Isner, I served and volleyed, had a big serve. Still, I'm getting more into tennis, now, but. I love basketball more. Basketball was my love. It's Hoosiers. Have you guys seen the movie Hoosiers? High school basketball in Indiana is like everything. So and thankfully I grew too. I was only 5'11" as a freshman in high school. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, if I want to play a sport in college, basketball might not be the route. My parents are both 5'10", like 5'10" white guy here. I don't know if basketball is going to be the ticket, but, thankfully I grew and, then my game kind of took off, but certainly was thinking about hanging it up for tennis.
You weren't very good at basketball in high school. Who is that? Let's introduce us to who the dog is. What are the details of the dog?
Did you guys hear?
Yeah,
sorry about that. That is our German Shepherd, Knight. He's an all-black German Shepherd, so somebody must not be taking care of him right now.
Oh, somebody in the house is in trouble. Who's responsible?
Likes to blame everyone.
Whose responsibility is Knight? You weren't that good at basketball, though? Like, what were your dreams in high school? What were your dreams? You didn't think you could be an NBA player yet?
I just was a late bloomer. I was wasn't very recruited. Like I actually only had offers from Butler and IUPUI, had a really late offer from Purdue. So, it's not like I was getting recruited everywhere. We won state in high school. I had another player on my team, one of my good friends who played at Miami of Ohio. So we won the high school championship, but like I said, I wasn't ranked like a 5-star recruit or anything. Didn't go to any of those camps that everyone else goes to. So, just a late bloomer.
At the risk of upsetting you, this is not the intention to upset you because of the way Billy started, but I just want to play the call of what would have been different and how much haunting there is because you're playing against Duke and Gordon Hayward's about to beat him. Gordon Hayward can knock off Duke as the late bloomer. Let's play that call here.
It's Hayward pulling it down, getting around Zubac at midcourt, launches the shot. Oh, it almost went in! Almost went in, and Duke is the king of the dance, 2010.
Oh, it should have gone in. It
should have gone in.
You thought it was going in.
You thought it was going in? Did you think it was going in?
You know what? I didn't think that one was going in. So there was a shot before that I took a fadeaway over Zubac. We were down, and it back rimmed. So from my vantage point, it looked like it was good. The half court shot, I wasn't trying to bank. So I thought that one was way off. And then, it kind of like banked, and I think they did like a sports science on it. It was like 3 inches to the left or right. I needed to shoot it more. So that one was really close, but I mean, it's hard to hear that for sure.
Did it haunt you at all? Like that specific shot, obviously losing a close game, you're that close to winning the championship. Everybody dreams of that stuff, but that particular shot and Stugotz's beloved game of inches, does that stay with you for a couple of days, just the shot, or a couple of years or a couple of decades?
It certainly stayed with me for a short period of time after it happened. You're thinking about what if, but to be honest, then it was, you have such a whirlwind of an experience of deciding to, leave college early and go to the draft. And then once you decide to do that, it's like, you're like constantly trying to get ready for that next level. So like, I haven't really even thought about it. I haven't had too much time to reflect. You're always thinking about what's next in your career and trying to get better and trying to do different things. So, now that I'm retired, I'll probably think about it. And you guys just started off that thinking. So maybe it's going to haunt me tonight.
Would you have stayed in Utah if you had known that Donovan Mitchell was going to be that good? Or did you have any idea that Donovan Mitchell was going to be that good?
No, I had no clue. I mean, he's, one of the best players in the NBA, especially at what he's able to do. And you never know. So it's hard to play the what if game. You can play that game too. Like, if I stay, do I get hurt? I mean, me getting hurt in Boston changed the course of my career. And so I don't play the what if game. I have no regrets of my career and the decisions that I've made. I know it was one of the toughest decisions I've ever made, as we just talked about. Miami, Utah, Boston, all really good choices. So it's hard to make that decision.
What do you regard as the most fun you've had playing basketball? Like, what is the period that you look at and say, that was the best time, that felt like the best time to be me? That was the most fun. It was least pressurized and more fun.
Yeah. High school basketball in Indiana, man. I tell people this all the time. Like, you take it for granted because you just don't know when you're doing it, but being able to play with like your boys, there's nothing more fun. I feel like in whatever sport you do, or even whatever job you have, if you're able to do it with like your friends and like your best friends, you're in school with them, you're going to class, you're going to parties, you're going to all this other stuff with your friends, and you're also playing basketball. And being from Indiana, like I told you, we had huge crowds. Our gyms in high school gyms in Indiana are huge. So playing in front of those crowds too is something special. So that was probably the most fun that I ever had playing basketball. Not to say that the other moments weren't fun, but there's nothing like, high school basketball.
That does seem crazy, though, because most people I would think of the NBA, hitting buzzer beaters in the pros. Those crowds are also very big. So what is the distinction that you're making and looking back at it? More carefree? Because all of a sudden, when you get to Boston, there's pressure as soon as you arrive because it's a different experience.
It's a business. I mean,
it is a business, and it's different in the sense of, like I said, you're playing with your friends. You're going to class with these people. You're hanging out when it's not basketball season. Also, all the students that are in the section, you see them too, and they're cheering you on. You've got the cheerleaders. The gyms are way more like in your face. And so you kind of like know the region or like the players around you. So you have these little rivalries and all this stuff. And certainly, like I said, hitting a buzzer beater in the NBA too is amazing. I mean, we won Game 7 in LA against the Clippers, and that was awesome. Silencing the crowd is a feeling like no other. But for me, that just high school basketball, I like here's a good example for you. So like when we won, I hit a last second shot to win the state title, and our whole town was there. I grew up in a suburb of Indy, so the whole town was there. They all we had a police escort back to our home gym. The whole town goes to the gym. We have a pep session. I actually it's my birthday, like when it strikes midnight. And so the whole crowd sings happy birthday to me. So it's like special moments like that you can never really have in the NBA.
Can you take us through the early parts of your career and what some of the meanest things other players said in trash talk while playing against you? It's tough to start in the NBA. So when you have to earn your respect, who are some of the legends that are trying to diminish you and you're like, I can't believe that person just said that to me. I just started out here.
Yeah, there was the one that always sticks in my mind is we were playing in the Garden, and KG was, as everyone's already said, I mean, he's a legendary trash talker, and he was guarding me, and I got a switch, and I tried to attack him, and I couldn't go anywhere. So then he kind of starts clapping and getting how he would get in his defensive stance, and I backed it up and went back at him and scored, and then I was kind of barking at him down the court, and I think he respected me after that because before, I'm just this little white kid coming from suburban Indianapolis. There was a lot of trash talk that I probably can't repeat on here towards me. But when I kind of barked back at him, he respected that, and it was good ever since then.
Oh, but I got to imagine you've got all the stories about being underestimated as the white guy who has to make his way in this world. Like Nick Collison told us the story. He runs out on the court and it's always shooter, shooter, shooter. And he's like, I'm not a shooter.
Right.
I can't shoot. Why are you saying that? But you're fighting your way through an ecosystem that offers all sorts of disrespect at the beginning that you have to overcome.
Absolutely. I always say, no matter what, and even this happened throughout my career. It's for whatever reason, when you see the white guy guarding you, it's let's ISO him and go at him. And so you gotta hope that you get a stop that first time, or else they're just going to keep going at you every single time. And I definitely wasn't the worst defender on the team, but for whatever reason, checking the game and going at him. We're going right at him.
That's the game plan. That's what you're saying. The advanced scouting is just ISO the white guy.
I'm telling you, there's just some sort of stereotype. It's people's eyes light up. I can tell you I remember, and this probably didn't necessarily have to do with the fact that I was white, but maybe it was my face and hair and everything. But when we played the Lakers, I think it was preseason, one of the years, and they had Ron Artest, and I checked in the game, and he looks at me and then looks back at Kobe and looks at me, and he's like, hey, Kobe. And he's pointing at me just throw me the ball in the post, man. Look who's guarding me. I got Bieber guarding me. And sure enough, he just posted me up, and Ron Artest was really good, and had no chance guarding me. I think he put me out, sat right back down,
I got Bieber. I got Bieber guarding me.
Yeah.
He's proud of it too, telling that story.
I don't know.
He's saying it with a smile. I mean,
what can you do at that point?
Nothing.
What am I going to do? What am I going to say to Ron Artest? You know what I mean? I was definitely not trying to fight that guy.
You mentioned Kobe, and I knew you drew some inspiration, like many did, from Kobe Bryant. What kind of impact did he have for you on the court and off the court?
Yeah, I mean, Kobe was a mentor for me. I don't know if you guys heard, I went on Paul George's podcast and told a bunch of stories about him, but just having a chance to work out with him in the offseason, having him, kind of in my phone for phone calls away, text messages away, emails, that meant the world. And I think everyone saw his work ethic and just his mentality, and inspired a lot of people, and certainly inspired me as well.
I did hear some of the stories you told with Paul George. I believe Derek Fisher and Rick Fox have told us stories as teammates of his where he would test you to the point that you'd have to be willing to fight him before you got his respect. Like, as a teammate, what do you regard as your best basketball war story? Does it involve Kobe or does it involve somebody else? If you had to show off one of the stories from your war chest that always is a hit at parties when people meet Gordon Hayward because they want to hear about some of the stuff that happens inside that only you guys know about.
Well, my Kobe stories are probably my go-to, which I've told before, but there was I remember when I was in Utah, I had this like marketing scheme. I play League of Legends. I was talking to one of your guys, backstage guys, about it. But I put out a tweet or an Instagram or something about being the best. Like, I can beat anybody one-on-one in the NBA. Like, I can beat LeBron one-on-one, but I was like teasing, saying like in League of Legends. And we happened to play them like a week afterwards. And I got a text from somebody from Cleveland saying like, dude, why'd you do that? Like, LeBron's talking about it. Like, why would you like piss him off out of all people? And we go and play the game, and I kind of went back and forth with them and ended up hitting a game winner against them at home in Utah. And so that was pretty cool feeling.
As we speak here, Lauri Markkanen has just signed a $230 million contract with Utah. You were born too early, Gordon. You got plenty of money, but when you see some of what it is that's happening in the NBA financially right now, your thoughts are generally what?
Great time to be an NBA player, for sure. I was extremely blessed with the time that I even came in with the contracts that I was able to get. So it's a good time to be, an NBA fan, good time to be an NBA player. Game's definitely growing. So happy for everybody that gets these types of contracts. Lauri's a really good player.
Yes, he is. We're going to put up a picture here of you in 2020, this mustache. And you look like the original Celtic is what the tweet is.
Like the first one?
Yes, the very first one.
Awesome.
The original one. You look like you were in a barbershop quartet as well. What is happening here?
Great.
It looks so good. You seem delighted by that look. What is happening here?
So you like that look?
Oh, yeah.
It's wonderful,
awesome.
but it's aggressively ironic, I'm assuming. You're doing this purposely to enrage the people who love you.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about that is for whatever reason, all like a bunch of guys are the ones that comment that they love it, and all the women are like, you look so stupid, you look creepy. Like, my wife hates that. She hated that, and I really was doing it to annoy her because this was in the bubble that I had this. So there was a bunch of people that just for whatever reason were skipping barbers and stuff. So that was certainly a unique look. That was one of my favorite looks.
But what did your wife have to say about that?
She hated it. She's like, I'm not kissing you with that. Like.
They always say that. They always say that. Then they come around, Gordon. My wife says the same thing when I have rocked the mustache, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, she wants to give me a kiss. What do you want me to do?
Okay. Yeah. They'll come around, huh?
It doesn't sound like she came around. It doesn't sound.
You had to shave it off.
It sounds like.
Yeah, I'm not rocking it anymore. So
it doesn't sound like your experience was the same as Tony's there. I have not heard you talk, and I don't wish to bring up a sore subject, but when you say your career was altered by that injury in Boston, I really was heartbroken for you to get 5 minutes into your career in Boston and suffer that injury, which just seemed horrific. And I don't imagine, I saw a photo of Alex Smith the other day and his leg. I don't assume that your career was the same after that, because I don't assume your body works the same after that, no matter the healing properties of youth. What can you tell us about that heartbreak? Because to be betrayed by your body when your body has carried you to all sorts of confidence and it's just a random thing, I don't know how someone endures something like that.
Yeah, that was tough. It was certainly a play that I did like once a game. Me and Joe Ingles had a connection where he'd throw me an alley-oop, and it was a play that I did for a long time, and it was just same type of play and freak accident and stuff like that. It happens in basketball, so no ill will towards anybody on how it happened. But yeah, I mean, it was certainly tough. I mean, your body has to change and try to adapt, and I can't say for certain, but I basically was like almost 100% healthy through my first 7 years with the Jazz and in my career. And then after that injury, it seemed like I had another injury like every year since, and a lot of them on that same side too. So, I mean, it's your body changes and tries to adapt, and the doctors did a tremendous job just getting me back out on the court and able to run again. Because, in the moment, it's like, I'm thinking to myself, like, am I going to be able to run again? Like, am I going to be able to play with my kids? Like, what? Just because my ankle is just dangling, like it's just dangling there. And, I think just for me to be able to get out on the court again was triumph for me in and of itself. But just had to put a lot of effort and work to try to just get back to where I was.
When you watch Boston win the championship, are you happy for Boston? Because
his friend Brad, right?
Some people there, or is it bittersweet because you also you had dreams of doing that there? Yeah.
I think if you would have asked me like the year I left, I would have been like pissed off about it, like rooting against them. But I still have so many good relationships in Boston with the people that are there. So I was rooting for him. Joe Mazzulla was an assistant when I was there, and he's awesome. Me and him were really close. JT and I also were really close. And so a lot of those guys, you're just obviously Brad moving to be the GM. Certainly I wish it would have happened when I was there. We had the talent to make it happen when I was there. But it's hard to win in the NBA and to get the right formula. Like there's just little things that have to go your way. And, I think they're going to be obviously favorites for years to come. They just are they're in that window right now where everything's lining up.
On the flip side, when you see the Heat win the Summer League championship, you regret not coming here. More recent one.
I didn't even know the Heat won the
Summer League.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that is. You're doing
same here,
a lot of stuff with your retirement. It can be very difficult to find your way after making your identity for as long as you have as an athlete. It's a really hard thing, retirement. You've got a production company, as I mentioned. Notice to Quit is the film. It's From Whiskey Creek. It's in theaters September 27th. What are you doing with both your production company and your retirement?
Yeah, I've always been interested in movies, and so I'm looking forward to telling stories and making movies. As you mentioned, we got this movie Notice to Quit coming out, starring Michael Zegan, Casa Bella Suarez. Simon Hacker wrote and directed it. He actually was the guy who did my comeback documentary for the Players Tribune. He's super talented. If you've ever seen Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, the show, Joel Maisel, that's Michael Zegan. He's the lead. He's amazing. And, this film is about kind of like, it's about father-daughter relationships, kind of like work balance relationships, something that I completely understand, and kind of figuring out what's important in life. And takes place set in New York and in the summertime. And so everyone's got to go out and see it. Like you said, September 27th is when it comes out. So I'm super proud of the movie and, everything that we were able to accomplish. And so I'm looking forward to getting everyone a chance to see it.
Did you have work-life balance as a player? To be as good as you were tends to take an obsessive compulsiveness that doesn't allow for many other things.
You're exactly right. And I tried to do the best that I could. I think my wife is the real star, as I think every athlete would tell you, with a family, with kids. Like, she was unbelievable and allowing me to, kind of do my thing. But what I did was I kind of learned this from Kobe a little bit, was I got my work in super early. So I was working out at 5 a.m. so I could be done at 9. So then I could kind of have the rest of the day to hang with the family and be with them, especially in the off season. And that's when you get the most time to kind of be with them. During the season, you're all over the place, and mentally too, you're so locked in. That's what makes it tough about, you're just constantly thinking about the game you just played, thinking about the next game, you're traveling, all that stuff. So I am looking forward to being more around with my kids and being more around with my family and getting a chance to do more with the movie. I'm going to go to Skywalker Ranch and do kind of some of the final sound editing with Simon. And so getting a chance to do those things, I'm really looking forward to.
Notice to Quit, again, is the name of the movie from Whiskey Creek. It's in theaters September 27th. His wife is the reason for all his success. He thanks her with a mustache that she doesn't want to be anywhere near.
By annoying her.
Yes, that is correct. Gordon, thank you for being on with us. And no thank you for breaking our hearts in Miami on July 4th in 2017. I'm sorry that my producer started the interview by, saying it was piece of shit behavior.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you.
See you later. Thank you.